I mean, I know TBX.Horse because I've seen those ads all over the place. Everybody says, "What are you doing today?" TBX.Horse.
It's a free subscription for right now, so everybody can get into it and start to play with it. We gave out the first 20 hips for free each day. There's a lot of things that go on that if you don't have that head-on view, you can't see.
Right, it's important.
And it hurts the buyer because we miss out on horses, and it hurts the seller because we didn't get to see the truth of that work.
They're going to depend on the information. Of course, they're going to go out and do their own physicals and, like say, pick the horse that they are comfortable with, but then use all the information that comes from your videos, your gallop-outs, and, of course, the graph number.
And the good thing, too, is since we have the videos up there, that part is subjective. What I might like, you guys might like, or vice versa. And so people are still able to get their own opinion and not just go off the numbers.
So welcome to Leading the Way podcast. Here we are again at the OBS sales in Ocala, Florida, the world's largest two-year-old training sales. Today's guest we have are Nelson Arroyo, Elijah Arroyo, and we have Brandon, but he's behind the camera right now, but he'll get in here and introduce himself. They are the creators of TBX. And TBX, we're going to talk about that and what it is. It's an app, but it's something pretty special, a little different than everybody else does here, trying to find the right horses to buy for all different levels, from racing horses at claiming ranks all the way up to Kentucky Derby type horses. So Elijah and Nelson, tell us a little bit about TBX, on how you created it or why you created it is probably the start.
So Elijah and I came to the sales in 2021.
So they're babies.
Yeah, brand new. And so I come from the racetrack world, and being a jockey and then a jockey agent, when I came down, I see the horses work, and first thing that I realized is that the gallop-out is really important. And for me, fractions, I can read fractions.
Right, you can do that in your head without the clock.
That's all I've done my whole life. Yeah, I clock horses without a clock.
Right.
So fractions to me are everything. When we decide to buy horses, we realize that there's a lot of tools that we need. Learning from you guys and Lani from Donna Tolani and a few more people in the game, I start to see all the things that we need to be able to pick a good horse, and how everything was scattered around.
Right.
Me being a jockey, I should have known a lot more about the sales, since I'm in the
it's a whole
game.
other world.
It's a whole different world.
Picking horses and then training horses.
So to us, we realized that the gallop-outs, some people take the gallop-out, some people sell them, some people do it for themselves. The fact that everybody's trying to find a champion, I see that people were seeing it as something, as this information needs to be maybe kept for myself. Learning from you guys, I see that there's plenty of horses. There's plenty of good horses.
Good horses come from everywhere, too.
Yes, and when you work hard and you do your homework, basically comes down to the pocket.
Right.
When you find the horse, it really comes down to how much you got
can buy
for
it or
him,
not.
if you can buy it or not. So the fact that if you share this information, it doesn't really mean that you're going to give away the horse that you like, because, that's how we came about TBX. So what we did is that we got all the times, we clocked the horses after the wire to the 3/8 after the wire. We collect data with the gallop-outs. We record the gallop-outs. So people at home, I seen that also. If you're not here, and people in this game, if you're a trainer, and you got 100 horses back home,
or an owner,
we all got our own businesses outside of the sales. Right. It's not like you guys that this is your world, this is what you do, and you get to see everything.
Right.
It's just you guys that see everything. Everybody else doesn't see enough of it. So we decided to put the gallop-outs, videos, and the times all in one page. We added a head-on view because we've seen that a lot of horses they're being missed out on because everybody goes by the fractions. And a 10-1 and a 10-2 makes such a difference in people's eyes. When maybe these horses are young and they're green.
Right.
And not a lot of them go in a
could be
straight
in the middle
path.
middle of the racetrack,
They can
on
be
the turn.
anywhere. Yes, there's a lot of things that go on that if you don't have the head-on view, you can't see.
Right, it's important.
And it hurts the buyer because we miss out on horses, and it hurts the seller because we didn't get to see the truth of that work. So we just combined it all into one page.
So this is an app.
It is a web app. So
it's a web app.
Right now it's a website.
Basically, it functions as an app. So it's a website, TBX.Horse, but it functions as an app. And then later on, we'll bring it to the App Store so you have it on. But right now, the way it works is for mobile, tablet, desktop. You can use it on any platform. Where an app you can't download onto your laptop.
Right. So it's a subscription. You got to subscribe to it, and once you subscribe to it, then you can get the information on all the horses at the 2-year-old training sales.
Yep. And the greatest thing is that for this March sale, the subscription is free, so everybody can try it.
Right.
Now, what we did
That's
is
a big introductory.
Yeah, that's a big,
That's a big offer. Can I get one?
Of course. So yeah, it's a free subscription for right now, so everybody can get into it and start to play with it. We gave out the first 20 hips for free each day. And the gallop-outs, usually the cheapest that you can find them is about $1,000 for the sale. The gallop-out videos were usually about $3,500 for the sale. We're giving out the videos and the times for only $250
For a year.
for this sale.
For the sale.
For this sale.
For sale.
For this sale. Soon after, so we're gonna use this March sale as an introduction of TBX. And as this year goes by, for the next year, we're gonna come up with something real nice. Where we're gonna try to make it where it's a small subscription, and that's all you pay. You won't have to pay for anything else. You just pay the one little subscription a year,
And you're in.
and you're in. And yeah, so basically we want to give this information out to the whole world. There's a lot of people that don't know about this game, and it's such a beautiful game. The fact that it's you can make a lot of money, it gives the opportunity for people that don't have the type of investment of, when you get into the into the races, when you pin hook, it's a whole different game than the races. And it's two worlds that you can make a lot of good in. But nobody knows about this game. And everybody likes stats. Everybody loves stats.
Well, stats have a lot of credibility to them.
Yeah.
I mean, and so when you can see horses going, and here I know that a lot of horses go the same time.
Yeah.
But they're not the same horses.
Yes.
Right.
And so if you can have some help trying to be able to distinguish where you're racing, whether you race, in New York or Pennsylvania or in Brazil or Italy for that matter, there are certain horses that fit each area.
And for that, what we did is that last year we were playing with AI.
Yeah.
And giving
This is
AI,
the part I really like, because
So-
I already know about it, folks. So this is kind of a new secret that I already know.
We're going to be introducing a graph number.
Love it.
We started playing with AI, and we started giving it all the information of the times of each horse, the track, the weather.
Track variance.
So the track condition here changes a lot
By the weather.
by the weather.
Sure, it does everywhere.
The difference here is that in the racetracks, the weather will change the track condition if it rains, if it snows, but just if it gets a little hotter, it doesn't make that much of a difference on a dirt track.
Right.
On the poly track, we realized that once he passed a certain degree in the weather, 85 degrees, the track starts, it starts to slow down. So a lot of the horses that, an example, that work in the third set, they get hurt a lot. Yes, because now by that time, the track is getting slower, it's hotter, and the buyers are not seeing that.
They're just seeing the time.
They're just seeing the time. And a 10 and 1 at 2 p.m. is not the same thing as a 10 and 1 at 8 in the morning.
You know, a great example was the horse that just won the Gotham flood zone. That horse worked in the third set in June. It was over 90 degrees. And so the times alone weren't that impressive. Right. You compared it to first set horses, they weren't that impressive. But compared to the set, it was one of the best. And that horse ended up now being a great
when a better graph number, would that be a higher number or a lower number?
It's a lower number. So the graph number,
we'll take that in consideration.
Yes. So through AI, the lowest number we've had is -1.
Yep.
Right.
That horse that Elijah just mentioned, what's his name again?
Flood zone.
So flood zone worked in 21 and 3 the quarter. Not really impressive when you're looking for speed.
When they're going for 20 and change over here.
Right.
When AI gave it a 4.
Right.
That's a really low number.
Right.
You know, any horse that's a 5 or less, you know, you got to look into that
Because it
horse.
took into considerations the track variance, the wind,
everything.
Right.
The wind, it had a headwind. It had 89-degree weather. The track was considered slow. So the graph number is going to help us out with certain...
We're keeping your interest in that horse.
Yes.
Because he really performed as good as the horse that went earlier, maybe in 20 and 4.
Yes. Yep. So the AI considers tailwind and headwind, crosswind, depending on the speed. It either raises up the number or lowers it, combined with the weather, humidity, air condition. It's a combination of a lot of things.
That's why it's AI.
But just look at the difference between this morning and now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would be leading horses up right now. And sometimes you don't have a choice. You know, if you're breezing horses all day, you got good horses going in the afternoon as well as you do early because you're breezing 5-6 horses where you're going all day.
Yes.
So you're going to have some in the morning and you're going to have some late. Don't mean they're better horses.
Yep.
But it's just the way you draw.
No, and then the truth is that sometimes what I'm seeing is that maybe a horse that you know that's talented, that doesn't need that super fast track, you might put them later on in the day.
You see, it'll overcome it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because they work later on in the day doesn't take anything away from them.
Right.
I actually love horses that work in the third set.
Yeah, we had the last horse on the track 2 years ago, and he worked 10 flat and sold for $1.4 million.
Yeah,
but he was the last horse to walk on the track that day.
Look at that.
But because we breezed so many that day, they were all good. You know?
Yeah, I mean.
Yep.
So a lot of we have an audience here that a lot of them are going to be, very, very astute on what goes on here, and then we have some people that watch our podcast and listen to it and know nothing about racing or how to buy a horse. There, so they usually hire an agent, and so the agents would use this tool to help them pick the horse for them. So I'm going to go and kind of flip around on here on TBX. So TBX was created by this family, Arroyo family. They also have Arroyo bloodstock, so this is a combination going on here, and that's how it started.
Yeah,
it started with Arroyo bloodstock, and then they developed TBX, and TBX just kind of bursted out and bloomed on its own.
Well, he had to find jobs for all of his kids.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, y'all got to go to work. Grab a camera.
Well, they're doing a great job at it. I can tell you that.
Thank you.
And so Arroyo bloodstock gets hired and to buy horses for people, and they used this, or you guys used this. Now we're gonna have a lot of other people using it, I'm sure. I know if I were buying horses in the 2-year-old sales. We happen to be sellers, not buyers, but we would for sure be using it because every piece of equipment we can get, we would take advantage of. And you're putting this information into AI, and AI it's pretty simple information to put in because it is what's happening. But what if a horse is working an eighth of a mile, but he runs off at the quarter pole? So
that's great.
You can put that information into AI too, and they can take that consideration that it's the last part of their work, if they actually worked further.
So if they run off early, we actually don't have that yet. I'm not gonna say we do because we don't. Yeah. That's where you need an agent.
Yeah, to see it.
That's where you need an agent. Because the agent. That's one thing that we would look for. Once we see a work.
I know he did that fast at the last part of his work.
Yeah, if we see,
horse.
I mean, the one thing I realized for all the users that come in new, this helps. It gives you all the tools that you need. I would always advise to get an agent for help because this is what we do. This is our life.
Yeah, it's your business.
Yeah. This is, and it helps. It's just we see things. An example like that, what you just mentioned.
Didn't you see that it said no phones allowed in the studio?
I just turned that off. I'm going to hide it under my leg.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I love it. Where was I?
See what happens when you get old?
Yeah.
All right, Elijah, pick up where you left off.
The importance of hiring a bloodstock agent. The TBX.Horse it's a tool, and it helps for agents or owners, anybody who wants to buy. But it is important to always have a bloodstock agent with you to help know how to use the tools.
Right.
One thing that we're
exactly that's the key that we were trying to get to, because a lot of these people don't know anything about it. So how to use the tools. So having an agent knows how to use the tools.
And what we're going to do, anyone new that logs in and gets interested, you can actually there's a little button that says bloodstock agent. You can go in there, request. By the next sale, we're gonna have all the bloodstock agents up listed on the page, listed
with their contacts.
With their contacts,
and they could take their own choice.
Exactly. Yes. So anyone new,
well, there's a lot of new people coming in.
Yes.
They like to own a racehorse. They would love to have owned racehorses probably all their lives, and then all of a sudden realized, you know what? I think it's time to. I'm going to do it.
And you know what? Even us in the horse racing industry, I've been a jockey half my life and a jockey agent. I've always wanted to own horses. And as a jockey, you can't own horses. Agents can't own horses. You can pinhook though.
Yeah, you can own them.
Yeah.
And something we realized too is when it comes to making decisions, especially big financial decisions, the most important thing is to be educated on it.
Yeah.
If you don't feel educated, you're not going to feel comfortable.
It's hard to spend the money if you don't feel good about what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of our biggest goals is just to educate the public, people within the industry and people coming in, so they feel more comfortable.
And it's funny, this is why we do our podcast. And everybody loves the podcast. I mean, we've got a tremendous amount of followers there. And it's because we educate people to come in and feel good about what they're doing, what they're buying, find the right people, find their teams, and their army that it takes. And it takes a village. Yeah, it takes a village, to be able to get it all put together and done. And I give a lot of credit to all the bloodstock agents and the owners mostly, because they're the ones really putting their butt on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it takes a lot. It takes a lot to put your
your
money down and trust somebody else with it. So respects to them.
But how tough is it if I'm brand new and I want to get access? What's the process to get access to this? I mean, I know TBX.Horse, because I've seen those ads all over the place. Everybody says, "What are you doing today?" TBX.Horse.
So all you got to do is go to TBX.Horse, sign up, it's free, and then you go over to the March catalog, and right from there you can start playing around. Like my dad mentions, hips 1 through 20, everything be free on there, so you can actually start playing around and seeing what we offer, how it all works, and how it looks. And then, so benefits, everybody that's in the first 20 hips, they're going to get a free shout out.
Oh, cool. We got hip number 4.
Yeah. we're there.
Yeah.
We get a free one.
What a great way to start the sale, too.
Yeah.
Oh, what a horse. Yeah, I love that horse.
Yeah. Well, there's so many great horses here, and these consignors bring them all to this one place here in Ocala, Florida, Ocala Breeder Sales Company, to present these horses. And we have, 4 days in Breed Show?
4.
Yeah.
4 days of Breed Show. So everything has to come together in 4 days
For all these horses.
for all these horses.
Everyone.
To make sure they're not, have a little virus or sniffles or anything of the sort. So it's a really hard job for the consignors to present their horse. It's a really hard job for the agents to pick the horses for the buyers, and then put together the right buyer for the right horse.
Yeah.
And the right trainer, for that matter, for the right horse.
Now, I'll tell you one thing. That's the most fun.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
best thing about this job is being on that search and when you're hunting for that champion.
Well, I know of one you picked last year, and she's a good one.
So
Right?
thank God we got
Artisma.
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 Hey, thanks to TBX.Horse because we got to see Artisma go down the lane and
Maryland.
In Maryland. And
Bought it from some great guys.
yeah. These
Dean and Randy.
we bought it from Dean and Randy.
No,
And that's a great example because she's one that when she got whipped with the left, she kind of came out a little bit. And I think that she would have done a faster time
Right.
if she had gone straight.
Perfect example of the head-on video.
So for
See that.
us, it helped us as buyers to have that tool. Unfortunately, it hurt you guys because nobody else got to see it.
That's just the way it
If
goes.
other people got to see it, we would have had more competition.
Well, you
trying
better
to
get
buy
this
her.
out a little bit more so we can do a little better.
But,
I don't think you need to do any better, Dean.
it's working out in the long run because now she's shown her ability. She's stakes placed and she seems like she's gonna have a really big future. So it's
2
going-
starts. I'll brag on her. If you don't want to brag on her. Breaks are made in the first start, back in a stake the next start, second in that, 2 starts, a star in both starts, and just has her whole life ahead of her as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
great. And last year we only got to buy 2 horses really at the 2-year-old sales for the races, which was Artisma and Nilo's Rose, who ran first time out in New York for Falcone, and then went 2 back-to-back.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah, so thank God we've done well with the ones that we purchased last year, and hopefully this year we'll be able to purchase a lot
About
more.
20.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
yeah.
Keep building.
Yeah, that's the goal. And you're going to be working harder and harder, but that's okay. You can never work too hard.
No.
You never die from hard work.
Yeah, and thank God
You
this
just
is
die
not-
from worrying.
Yeah. And thank God this is not work. Anytime that we're out here busting our butts, I would
Yeah.
do it for free. I would pay to be here. This is just what we love.
When we talk about bloodstock agents and Arroyo bloodstock, it doesn't just end when you pick the horse and they purchase it, because now you've got to get the vet lined up to do whatever you want to do when you ship. Then you also have to get the van companies lined up, ship the horse to wherever it may go, whether it's a farm or directly to the racetrack. I mean, the work doesn't stop there. So it keeps going.
Yeah, that's why we mention also the importance of a bloodstock agent, because they guide you.
Right.
Yeah.
Through all that process.
Whether they need to go home for a bit or go straight there.
We can
Did
advise
Artisma,
you.
did she go straight to the racetrack?
No,
She went home for a little bit?
No, yeah, we send her to the farm for a month. We actually, when we bought her, she had some chins,
Right.
remember?
Yeah.
So we had to give her a little bit of time. Yep. And you know what? And one thing that I'm realizing, I love horses with chins.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing that
They all need a little break.
we kept track of the horses that sold last year. And a lot of the ones that had chins were the ones that made it
Right.
in the big races. And maybe it's just because maybe you're forced to give them that month,
I
or
think so.
I don't know what it is, but we kept track of them, and they all did well. So
I think the main thing is that they really benefit from that time.
Yeah,
that
for
time,
sure.
it doesn't hurt them at all.
I mean, they're babies. A lot of them aren't even 2 years old yet
Yeah.
by birth date
yeah.
on that.
It seems like if you purchase them and you give them that little 3 weeks to a month
Yeah.
where they jog and they relax and they become a horse again, and then they go to the races. Seems like they do well now. Needles Rose went straight to the races,
And
and
he
she
did
did great.
Or she? That's a filly also.
Yeah, both fillies.
And it's
Yeah.
definitely case to case, you know. That's the
Right.
biggest thing. We learned that from you guys. Just
Oh,
making
yeah.
sure you're teaching taking every horse for what they are and depending on their needs.
And I've learned that from him. Patience is a virtue. He tells me all the time. But
Yeah, Dean's a pusher.
yeah, but I got my
a good
secret
balance.
weapon.
Yeah.
No, so we sent her. Yeah, we sent her to the farm for a month. Then she went to Santa Anita with Richard Baltas, who's doing
Yes.
a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you to Richie. Yeah,
And he couldn't be there at the sale, so he hired you guys.
and actually, thank God, he's gonna come for this sale in
Oh, he
March.
is? Oh, good.
He contracted us to get him a couple more fillies. So
Right.
yeah, so it worked out.
So we know that TBX was started just for Arroyo bloodstock, and now it's going hopefully worldwide. Because I know that United States has the largest number of 2-year-old sales than any other countries, but there is 2-year-old and training. Well, they call them gallop-up sales, don't they?
Breeze up sales.
Breeze up sales there, and then so maybe it can move internationally as well.
Hopefully, first we're gonna start off by next year for sure. We're gonna have the website in Arabic, in Korean, in Japanese.
Yeah,
Right
very
now it's
important.
in Spanish, because this is a big market too.
Are you
for the
prejudiced as you
world.
pick Spanish first?
Gotta
you-
save the best for last. Gotta save the best for last. But yeah. Hopefully we'll make it out there. First, we wanna perfect it here. You know,
Yeah.
we wanna grab this year to really go back and forth with the buyers and the sellers and try to come up with something really, really unique and perfect.
Well, I see that graph numbers really setting TBX aside from any other video or audio kind of system. I think that's a big plus. I mean, because when we look at maybe we purchase a mare and she was racing, we want to look at her thoroughgraph numbers or rag numbers as she raced, and those numbers are important because how they get them and telling us all about them. So I love the idea that has come into this 2-year-old market.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great too because for betting, so as we were playing with it last year, Elijah used it to bet on
Of course he
to
did.
bet on 2-year-old
Cheetah.
on first-time starters. So he started hitting, and I tell him, Elijah, you should give out the tips. Since you're doing this, you should just give out the tips and have it on record
Right.
of how you're doing, how your picks are doing.
And he said, "Dad, I'm not giving away anything."
He still gives them away.
I give them away.
So,
But that started the TBX picks of the day, and we focused on horses coming from the 2-year-old sales. that
Great idea.
Had, really good breeze and gallop out times, and especially the graph number, what they were spitting out. And we were able to pick a lot of horses from different price ranges.
Right. It
different
doesn't matter what price
surfaces.
range at that time. At
And
that point.
We one of the biggest hits that happened this past year was a filly named Mayday Ready. It was a Tappet filly that she won in Saratoga. She was 20-something-1. And,
40 to
was she
1.
40 to 1?
40 to 1.
40 to 1. And she ended up being a multiple graded stakes winner. She ran in the Breeders' Cup. And
Really?
She wasn't 40 to 1 after that.
Yeah, I imagine not.
we got her the
And
first,
we knew she couldn't lose. This is her first time out.
Really?
We actually talked. We went to New York and we stopped at Falcone's barn.
Yeah.
And we tell Falcone, hey, this filly, she's gonna win today. And he's sort of like, how you
do you
guys
know?
know this?
Yeah.
She won. She won. So no, it's the
Well,
graph
tell me
numbers
that
really
stuff,
work.
because I'll sell the car and the house. No, it won't. But
No,
That's your man. That's your man.
we were able to pick some really nice juveniles. Chancellor McPatrick was one that scored off the charts on our graph number, and obviously he's a 2-time Grade 1 winner. Gaming was another one. Noonie. I mean, there's a long list of horses that just ended up being stakes winners or graded stakes winners that performed well at the sale.
I talked to a trainer here this morning, and her and her husband would come up for the breeze show, and but they were in no rush because they said they were going to use the TBX app to try to get them a lot more information, because they, aren't able to just go buy any horse they want to. They have to be in a certain price range, and they race in a very tough company.
Yeah.
New York and South Florida, so they've got to have the right horse. And she said, "Well, I'm not going to get there until Thursday, and of course, the breeze show starts Wednesday, but I'm going to use the TBX app." I said, "Good for you."
That's awesome. Yeah, we're getting a lot of good feedback. When I went to the Derby, actually, I passed by Steve Asmussen's barn, and Steve thanked me so much. He's all like, "Nelson, you don't know how much you saved me, time and money. I didn't have to go to the sale. I was able to just see it all at home, and man, great."
And it's one thing to read the gallop-out, but it's different to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can see that the horse went X, but when read it. But when you can see it, it makes you feel differently about the horse.
How they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing, too, is since we have the videos up there, that part is subjective. What I might like, you guys might like, or vice versa. And so people are still able to get their own opinion, not just go off the numbers. And it's something that it's a good tool overall. And our goal, what happened to us is now we're dependent on it. If we don't have it, we feel like we're not comfortable buying a horse. And so,
well, that's probably how it's going to be for a lot of people, to be honest. Elijah, is that they're going to depend on the information. Of course, they're going to go out and do their own physicals and, like say, pick the horse that they are comfortable with, size-wise, and where they're going to race and so forth like that. But then use all the information that comes from your videos, your gallop-outs, and, of course, the graph number. I know you got a pretty big team because you got 1 million kids. And you put them all to work. But there is another guy that's very, very important to this whole thing, and it's Brandon. Now, Brandon's behind the camera right now, so Brandon, why don't you just step in and at least say hi in the middle of this podcast for everybody.
Yeah,
This is Brandon Arroyo. He is a very important part of this too here, and these guys together, we see him everywhere we go, on the farms, all of them picking out horses. And I watched Brandon take some pictures the other day, and it had to be so perfect for those horses to stand his way.
That's why I left. I'm like, y'all got it.
Yeah, and picking horses off a 2-minute licking or just galloping. Ooh, that's a good mover. I just like the whole team effort you guys are putting together here, because that's what's going to make you successful.
Thank you. And a lot of our success we do owe it to Brandon. Brandon is the one who does all the social media, and not only that, but he has such a great eye now on videos that he tells us. He goes back to us and tells us that, "Did you see this, Elijah? Did you see that?" And not only that, but by being with us, now he's starting to help us pick horses. Now he knows what our horse should look like.
Right. Confirmation.
Everything. So he's becoming a huge, huge part of our success.
And he knows what the health should be like.
He's Randy and he's Dean.
Yeah. Basically.
That's right.
Pretty
much. Basically.
I see what's happening.
Basically. So
Brandon's doing a great job, and he's learning really fast. And it's
You
nice.
know,
It's nice
we
to be
learn
around.
till we're 90, though. You know that. Or till we're dead.
Yeah.
I
Till
mean,
we're
you got to
dead.
keep learning
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
keep
that's true.
learning. It's this is a humbling business, because you learn something new, things changes, horses change on how they're breeding them and what they're looking like, and things like that every day.
Yeah.
You know, so you continue to learn.
Yep.
We had an old client one time, Tommy Hurd. Remember Tommy? And I think it was his 85th birthday, and something went on in his barn or something like that. And he said, "Well, this is the first time I've experienced that. I learned something new today." 85 years old, been training horses all his life, and I said, "Yeah, you."
And talking about that, another cool thing that we're gonna have on TBX.Horse is that we're gonna have all the information from the yearling sales. and the winglings. So you're gonna be able to look at a horse at these sales, at the breeze up sales,
And know what their siblings done.
and know what their siblings have done, and go back and look at their pictures as yearlings and as winglings, and see how they've developed throughout the time. A lot of the time, from what I'm learning, maybe a horse, they change.
They do change.
So they go through changes, and maybe while they're here this week that you come by to see him, he's going through one of those changes.
That's right.
That if you look at the yearling sale and you look at the actual physical, maybe he was at its peak.
Right.
At that moment.
Right. And you get to see a different horse that you're not seeing there. And he lets you know, oh, wait, hold on.
He'll come back.
Yeah, he'll be that horse again.
Yes, he'll come back. So
Yeah.
this app is we wanted to help in not just at the OBS or the Fasig Tips and Breeze Up sales, and by giving you the times and the videos, but also giving you more information from the past.
Is there a tutorial that's going to show how to use this?
Yes, we're gonna have a tutorial come out by the 5th. So
That's 2 days.
in 2 days. In 2 days, when the breeze up start, you're gonna see a little video on YouTube,
Right.
with instructions and explanations of how to use it. And then in the future, hopefully, we'll bring this into the yearling sales. We have a lot of good ideas for the yearling sales. We won't share those with you right now, but
I like the secrets. I knew about that graph number, and I just grabbed onto that right away because we like numbers. I mean, we like the Thoroughgraph numbers, the buyer numbers. I mean, all of them have some importance to them. So I know that the industry has relied on these, and now this is the first to come up with 1 and 2 year old sales breezes on that. So
we're excited.
You're a pioneer. A pioneer.
Thank you. We're excited
Of that.
Yeah, we're really excited about that.
Yeah, that is great to do that. So here I say sit with 2 very creative, or 3 very creative people coming up with great ideas, and more to come in the future.
And actually, before I forget, it's actually Noah has a lot to do with this. So Noah, I
there is
love
more
you.
kids in the background.
More kids. Goldie has been a big part of it.
That's
Nayeli.
Yeah, for sure, Mom.
Yeah.
She's the most important.
So thanks to
everybody.
all of you guys. Yeah,
That's his twin right there.
That's a Royal Bloodstock.
That's right.
It's a group
Alex is walking
Alex,
up right
Alex
now.
has been a huge part of it. So huge team.
It takes a village, it's a lot of work that goes into it, and it started. I have to give a lot of credit to my dad. It started as an idea, and something that we needed, and then from that idea we started building it and seeing we need a team. We can't do it. He can't do it all. I can't do it all. And as we started expanding that, we had to put weight on different people.
Right.
And so it's been a big blessing to have a good team around, a good family.
Yeah.
And
all that you have.
The great thing is that this all came about because I sat down with each one of my kids and I asked them, what is it that you like? And Brandon expresses to me, I like media.
Right.
I want to be in media.
And him, I like horses.
All right. This kid's been horses.
Yeah, I can see him now. I bet you when you was a jockey, he was following you around everywhere.
Oh, I'll show you the pictures at 2 years old with the helmet on. We have an album actually on Facebook that my wife made.
Oh, cool.
That shows Elijah since he was 1, 2. With the helmet on, with the
boots.
whip,
Leading
with the
horses for
goggles.
John Sadler
And
around the
actually, when I broke my back in 2010, 2011, I rode for a month and I couldn't ride anymore. So I had to quit and I become an agent. So when I become an agent, now I got to pick the best horse.
Right.
I ended up with the leading jockey, with Victor LeBron. Thank you, Victor, for giving me the chance. First jockey, he seen me in pain in the jockey's room and said, Nelson, quit and become my agent. You'll be a great agent. And I did right there and then. Yeah, I rode. The next day I came back with Victor as my jockey. With a condition book. So thank you, Victor. But when I start handicapping, and now we're getting all the horses, the times that I had 2 horses to pick and I couldn't pick, Elijah was 8 years old, and I called Elijah into the kitchen one day, and I said, Elijah, pick which one's the winner, and God's my witness. This kid picked the winner, and he was my secret weapon.
Chance.
I did.
He was my secret weapon. Anytime I had two horses that I couldn't choose from, Elijah, come here. He didn't even know. This one. And they always hit. So, yeah, he's.
So, how much do you owe Elijah?
Yeah, a lot. But you know, as long since I can remember when I could even read, I was reading the form and handicapping, and that was my biggest hobby, was to go to the races from the first race to the last and just handicap.
And now you become your passion, and now became your business, which is really impressive. I mean, it really is. I mean, we have a passion for it, and we've built our business on our passion. And then we know how much a village it takes. I mean, all our people, our right down to Hot Walker is the most important part of our success is our team.
Yeah.
And we always talk about our team. And you guys have your own team, and your team's probably going to grow because you're going to need more and more people. But we know the importance of a team, and if anybody is out there looking for a bloodstock and a team, you guys got a great team.
Thank you.
And hopefully they would.
And there's actually more. Thank you to Marcus, Jay, and Austin, who are also part of the team. So
Yeah. You know, there's a lot in the background. You know, I mean, right here in the whole industry, and I always thank them all, but. You know, we did a podcast with Brookledge Horse Transport because now, you know, these millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of horses fall in their hands.
Yeah.
And they've got to take care of them all the way to the next destination that these horses are
across
to
the
go.
country.
And what a great job they do.
Oh, amazing. Brookledge Horse Transport and all the other ones. I mean, I'm a little partial to Brookledge because 35 years we've been using them because we feel they're the best.
Yeah.
But that's just our opinion of it.
Yeah.
On that.
But they're all good. They all do a great job because I've seen them, and I've seen the care that they give the horses. All these horses are taken care of well, you know, and you know, respects to all of them.
So there's a lot of behind the scenes that we forget to mention. There's people that develop vitamins for these horses to keep them in their athletic shape that they need to be in to be able to. In fact, as I'm wearing a jacket right here, 707. We've been using that for I don't know how long. There, and they make a very special. Vitamin just for us. Yeah, just for us.
Thanks to Dean's wife. She's the one who turned us on to it.
Yeah. No, my sister, Doreen.
Oh, I thought it was
Christy. Yeah, no, Melanie. Melanie's been fantastic. And so they make a special mix just for us because of what we wanted in it. So they just go out of their way.
That's awesome.
And, you know, so there's a lot to this industry which makes you really love it.
Yep.
Because it all has to come together.
And the vets, too. The vets, a lot of respect to the vets, especially to Roland, who's also part of our team.
Yeah, he's our team, too. We're going to actually have a podcast with him tomorrow.
Yeah, to me, he's the best. The greatest.
He's a good guy.
Man, I
think
love
out of the
Roland.
box. Everybody has to think out of the box to get ahead in the world.
And he
be one
does.
step
He thinks
ahead.
out of the box.
Oh, big time.
You got to be one step ahead of everything that goes on, and you know, it happens in our government, it happens in business world. One step ahead, and you guys are one step ahead of your whole operation in just a few short years.
Thank you.
And that's a great
Pretty
point,
impressive.
actually, with thank you with Roland, because we approached them with the idea of having an online booking service for the vets.
Right.
And he
we didn't even
jumped
talk about that.
No, we
got
almost
That's right. So actually, we so online on TBX.Horse, we also created the first online booking for vets. So if you guys need to vet a horse, if you need a vet reading, you can hire Dr. Roland right on our website. All the others for the next sales, we are going to include the rest of the vets. Hopefully, they come along and they jump on board.
I know they will. I mean, they would be crazy not to.
Yeah, we're trying to help, you know, the whole industry and
You're gonna be the Yellow Pages.
basically. And like my dad mentioned, that's our goal. We want to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know, we're not here to be biased towards anybody, and it's something that there's
room for everybody.
There's room for everybody.
You know, there's room for
There's
everybody.
room for everybody.
We want everybody to be successful.
And the truth is that we're here because of help. You know, if you don't
That
have
is the
help,
truth.
Oh yeah.
you
That's
know,
the
if
truth.
you don't have help, it's so hard to make it. So in this industry, the more help you have, the more help that we can offer, that's out there, it's just better for everybody, you know.
Well, we've realized that you know, without the help, we couldn't have done anything ourselves in our business, and we've been doing this for 34 years, 35 years there. And some of our help has been with us from the day we started in business.
Wow.
35 years, 27 years, they've been with us. And he always tells me I'm hard on help. Well, they don't leave. They don't leave, so I can't be too hard on them.
But they're good.
Because they love us as a team. We're a family.
Yeah, and Dean takes good care of them. He's a little hard, but he's probably the biggest
not
part
really.
Between both of us.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to do the best job they can. And if I know you can do that job,
I expect you to.
Then I expect you to do the job. And if you can't do that job, well, unfortunately, we don't have room for somebody in our business to do that. I could be your friend, but I couldn't, put you in there. But so I'm prejudiced and think that we have the greatest help in the world as well.
You got a great team.
Yeah.
You have a great team.
Our success is definitely dedicated to the whole team. And you know what? When we have a horse go up to the ring, our crews feel like it's their horse.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, and they're so happy or they're so sad. Either one.
They're like, what happened?
We actually, the groom that had Artisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jose.
Jose, every time he knows before we know what's happening with Artisma.
Right.
At the races.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He's-
This Jose. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You kidding me? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's on
like
top
Elijah
of it.
when it comes to the horse racing.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. He'll go up to me and tell, hey, she worked this day and did this and did that. Oh, thank you for letting me know.
They just love it. It's
Yeah.
their passion. So
Yeah.
for them to wake up every morning, it's not going to a job either.
Yeah.
They go into their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like that. But we're going to have more episodes. So because there's so much more to talk about, when all the new stuff comes up, we're going to have another episode 2, 3, 4, all the way as far as we can go with this. But we will pack up and leave this episode. But before we leave, again, TBX.Horse is where you find your information. And on there, you also will find information to be able to contact Elijah or Nelson or Brandon directly. So if you have questions that maybe you can't figure out on the website, they'll be able to walk you right through that. And they'll be sitting up in that grandstand and working this
They'll be
sale
around the whole
for the
track.
next 4 days.
Yeah. And he might be on the horse.
And then we're going to drag him after the Bree show to do some more podcasts so we can keep our podcast going on that. But it is enjoyable, and I do want to thank everybody that is involved in the industry, all the consignors and veterinarians,
Agents,
trainers,
owners,
horseshoers. Oh, my God. No foot, no horse, you got to have those too on your team that loves and cares about it as well.
Yep.
But leading the way, if you like what you hear, you like what you're listening to, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Leading the Way, and you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, or like us on both as well, if you do like it. So anyway, here will be, and in this podcast, any questions, you can contact Dean or Randy as well, and we can hook you up right here with the TBX team, TBX.Horse.